How do we find real, genuine stability and inner peace when the world feels so chaotic? I mean, it's a question that feels more important now than ever, right? Well, to get some answers, we're going to turn to the incredible wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, let's just dive right in at the deep end. We're going to start with a question that was asked thousands of years ago, right in the middle of a battlefield, and it's what kicks off this whole journey into the mind. So here you have the great warrior Arjuna, asking his mentor, Krishna, about someone whose consciousness is merged in transcendence. You know, what he's really asking is, what does a truly authentic, stable, wise person actually look like in the real world? How do they talk? How do they walk? It's a question about authenticity that we are absolutely still asking today. But before we can even start to recognize that kind of stability in other people, we need a way to see our own true nature. So let's explore this really powerful analogy that shows how our real character comes out, especially when we're under a little bit of pressure. Think about it for a second. Is our true self on display when everything's just smooth sailing, or is it when things start to fall apart? Let's see what this ancient text has to say. Let's start with a really simple image. Just picture a ripe, fresh orange in your hand, and you start to apply pressure. You just squeeze it. So what do you expect to come out? Orange juice, right? Of course, you wouldn't expect pineapple juice or mango juice to spray out because, well, what comes out when you apply pressure is simply what was already on the inside.
And this brings us to such a powerful idea. When a situation makes you angry, it's not actually creating the anger out of thin air. It's just squeezing you and revealing the anger that was already kind of dormant inside. Our reactions when the pressure is on, well, they show us what we're really made of.
All right, so now that we get this whole squeeze test for character, let's dig into the 3 huge internal challenges that a person with this stable intelligence has totally managed to overcome. The term for this amazing state of mind is Sthita-prajña. It literally means stable intelligence, and what it describes is someone who is free from the 3 forces that so often run our lives: attachment, fear, and anger. The teaching here is super clear. It points to attachment as the #1 root of all our problems. But why? Well, think about it. Whenever we get attached to something that's temporary, whether it's our job, our reputation, even how many likes we get on social media, we automatically start to fear losing it. And that fear, that's what so often sours into anger. And to see how this actually works in a real person's life, let's look at the incredible story of Mīrābāī, a queen who was the living embodiment of fearlessness because of her non-attachment. Mīrābāī put all of her devotion, all of her attachment, not on her earthly kingdom or her status, but on a higher, timeless ideal. Because of that, she wasn't attached to her own life or what people thought of her, and that made her completely fearless. People tried to kill her, but these attempts kept failing because, in a way, there was nothing to attack. Her inner world was already anchored somewhere totally beyond the reach of any worldly harm. And look, this idea of non-attachment isn't just some ancient philosophy. It's something that has created unbelievable resilience in modern times too, and you can see it with someone you might not expect, Thomas Edison. Just try to imagine this. Imagine watching your entire life's work, a huge investment, everything you've built, just go up in flames. Most of us would be absolutely devastated. But when this happened to Thomas Edison, his reaction was, well, it was incredible. He just stood there and laughed. When his son asked him, "Dad, what are you laughing about?" he explained that the fire was a good thing. It was burning away all of their past mistakes. See, he wasn't attached to the physical building. He knew his real value, his true factory, was his mind, and that was totally untouched by the fire. He started rebuilding immediately.
Okay, so if non-attachment is the secret to this kind of resilience and inner peace, what's the actual technique? I mean, how do we do this in our messy day-to-day lives?
To explain the technique for mastering our own self-control, the text points us to a simple, humble creature from the natural world. Think about a tortoise. The second it senses danger, what does it do? Bam! It immediately pulls its head and its legs into its protective shell. In the exact same way, we have to learn to recognize situations, people, or even thoughts that threaten our inner peace, and then consciously withdraw our senses, our attention, our energy to protect our inner core.
Now this is where a really common question comes up. Does all this talk about non-attachment mean we're supposed to become cold, unfeeling robots, just detached from everyone and everything we love?
No, not at all. The teaching here is that attachment and our emotions are totally natural.
The secret isn't to get rid of them, it's to consciously and wisely choose where we place our devotion.
So this presents us with a really fundamental choice. On one hand, we can attach our happiness to temporary things, our job title, our stuff, what other people think of us, and that path just leads to constant anxiety. Or we can attach ourselves to something permanent and timeless, a higher purpose, a deep-seated ideal, and that path leads to genuine freedom and stability.
When you boil it all down, that's what it comes to. Two very different paths for our heart's deepest attachments. One is a roller coaster of turbulence, and the other leads to true, unshakable stability.
And that is the central message here. True stability isn't about becoming empty inside, it's about anchoring ourselves to something so profound, so secure, that the storms raging in the outside world just can't shake us.
So we're left with this really powerful idea to think about. Our attachments are like a compass, and they define the entire direction of our lives. So take a moment and think about your own. Where are they pointing you? Is it toward fear and anxiety, or is it toward fearlessness and freedom?